More South Africans are battling to make ends meet due to the skyrocketing cost of living. Many have to fork out more for home loans and vehicle repayments. Inflation has for some time been outside the Reserve Bank's target range, making it difficult for consumers to cope with the cost of living. We're now joined by Sanisha Packirisamy, an economist with momentum, because, Sanisha, we understand that the so-called middle class is carrying most of this burden. Let's start with that. When we speak of the middle class, how would you characterize it when we compare it to the rest of the world?
Thanks so much, Dudu, for having me on the show. The term middle class is a little bit tricky to define. And in South Africa, various institutions also calculate the middle income on different income levels. The one that I like to look at is the 80-20 calculation, where they say that the middle class adults tend to earn somewhere between 8,000 and 30,000 rand per month. That accounts for just over 4 million households in South Africa.
And so is it just that characterizes the middle class? Do you take a look at the amount of savings they have, the amount of times they're able to take a break from all of these pressures that we're talking about, the generational wealth also, for instance?
You can also look at the living standards measure, the LSM groupings, and there they look at the types of expenditure and the items that you have in your house. For example, do you have a microwave? Do you have a fridge? Do you have a television? Do you have subscription TV? And these items also give you an indication of the types of goods and services that middle or low or high income households can utilize. And so from that perspective, in general, I would say that your middle income household tends to be exposed to interest rates, given that they do have things like car loans to pay off and mortgage installments on their home.
Add to that a number of people to take care of. And so can we truly characterize that as the middle class? Again, we've heard this notion a number of times that many people are pressed and you're just a paycheck away from poverty. You lose that job and you are part of the working class.
Unfortunately, when we hit crises such as the global financial crisis or more recently the COVID-19 pandemic, quite a big portion of those in the middle class were really teetering on the brink. And so when you do get a massive increase in cost of living pressures coming about, like we did see during both of those episodes, it actually tends to push those households, as you say, into lower income earning classes with more financial pressures coming through. And I would say that this is broader than just a South African phenomenon. We are seeing, headlines across the globe about the squeezed middle income classes, because what we've seen over the last couple of years for the middle income class, again, across the world, is that their incomes have not kept up pace with the items on which they spend, such as food, such as mortgages, such as car payments.
You speak of the incomes not keeping up pace with inflation. And so what needs to be done systematically so?
Well, I think there is a role for government to play here in order to improve social mobility. And that means that they really have to come to the party in order to start growing the economic pie so that there are more job prospects that are available. We also have to improve educational outcomes and ensure a higher level of health outcomes. I think that's really the ultimate key into ensuring that more of our citizens then start improving their living standards over time. Also, from the consumer's point of view, I think we also need to, as they say, tighten our belts a little bit and be quite cautious on the types of things that we do spend on. So, limiting the discretionary spend and really focusing our attention on the necessities, making sure that we try and pay down debts that are attached to very high interest payments, ensuring that we can save where we can. And looking out for those discounts, bulk purchases, and really trying to be a bit more cautious on our spending habits.
Fair enough. What do you say to somebody that says, ma'am, I can't even afford a belt. I'm all the way exposed?
No, I think we are getting to that position in South Africa where the level of inequality has picked up so severely. We have a large number of dependence on social grants from government's perspective. And unfortunately, we're sitting in a situation where the fiscus is very constrained and we can't really afford to increase the number of beneficiaries.
I'm so sorry, and I do beg your pardon. I understand we have to take our viewers to the High Court sitting in Pretoria. Thank you very much for your time.